We're good up here as usual.
You are? Yes, are you good? Is he? Yeah.
We're always good up here.
Yeah.
Hey Josh, you said after the game just a little off on some of those downfield passes. Is that what the film showed as well?
Yeah, I think, sometimes it's referred to as a game of inches. That's exactly what it came down to. Just a couple inches on a few different throws that could have drastically changed the game and would be talking a different tune this morning. But, it's how the game goes sometimes. We're going to continue to keep working, and got to find ways to be better for this team.
You anticipated the criticism or questions about the new look receiver group already on whatever that game was. What gives you confidence in knowing that this group can come together and perform at the level it was in the first 3 weeks as opposed to how things have been going the past week?
Because we've shown it before in the first couple weeks, and had a great training camp. And the group of guys that we have in this room are special. They work hard, and they're smart football players. And I got no doubt, and I got a lot of trust in these guys. So we're just gonna keep our head down and focus on the process more than the result. I know the result hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, but it's the name of the game. That's why we play. To go out there and test our strengths against their strengths and figure out what our weaknesses are and continue to work on those. So that's what we're going to continue to do.
How important is it to get those?
Very important. We talk about everyone eats, and it's fine and dandy when everybody is, but sometimes there's people that are left out, and you want to continue to incorporate them in your offense. And he's been one guy that we got to get going, and we know that. Joe knows that. I think the whole team knows that, and we're better when 88 is playing well. And again, just find ways to get guys the ball in open space, and starts with me.
How do you get Dawson going and not almost force it, overcorrect to do it?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, but maybe getting back to our base stuff that we ran in training camp and just trusting what we call and not trying to be so much in the perfect position, and just trusting what our guys can do, and that's kind of as simple as we want to make it. And we got a lot of guys with a lot of different skill sets on this team, and we want to utilize everybody's talents, and he's definitely a talented player that we got to utilize.
You said get back to the base stuff. How much does it help that you have a long history with Dawson?
It helps a lot. It helps a lot. I know him as a player, as a person that pays dividends on the field, and I got, again, the utmost trust in him as a player and as a person. So again, I got no worries of what we are going to do and how we're going to get better. And again, he's just another guy that works hard and doesn't complain. And we're gonna find ways to get him in good positions to have opportunities to make some plays for us. And when the opportunities are there, he's going to make the plays. And if they're not there, that means someone else has an opportunity to make a play for us. So that's how we're addressing that right now.
Hey Josh, you receiver group, even though it's 5 games in, is it still a discovery stage every week?
I think so, yeah. It's hard to know everybody, and obviously with Khalil going down last week, guys stepping into that role, having Shave up in the lineup, it takes time, and understanding that and trusting, again, the process and going out there and practicing and working hard, more so than what has happened over the last couple of weeks, because I know what type of guys we have in this locker room and the type of players that we have, and ultimately it comes down to us going out there and executing.
Even in the first game, you were moving the ball in the first half, and then in the first 3 games total, you were moving the ball. What do you attribute to slow starts and the lack of production in the first halves of the past 2 games?
Well, I got to be better. Ball placement, and again, couple throws that wish I could have had back this last game, but just making sure that we're on the same page, and it starts with the quarterback, and that's on me. So again, just trying to find ways this next week of sustaining drives, being better on third down, staying out of some of these third and long situations, but 1, protecting myself, 2, not taking sacks and getting the ball out of my hands as quickly as possible when the times present itself.
How is your head? A lot of people still have expressed concern that maybe something went wrong. How is your head?
Yeah, I obviously went into the tent, and I can only control what I can control, and what we talked about there, they deemed me cleared to play, and that's kind of what happened. So that's as deep as I'll get into it.
Obviously, you know the Jets very well. They've ranked in the top 2 pass defense 3 years in a row now. Just what do you think about the challenge of attacking their secondary, especially?
Yeah, they play really hard-nosed football. Their front is very talented. They got some talented players in the back end as well. A really good linebacker duo. So they're a tough defense to play against. Number one, I think establishing the run and making sure that we can try to commit to that, and then again being smart with where the football's going, how quickly we get out of our hands. And I think going back to last year's game here was a good tell of just like, hey, when the opportunities present itself downfield, great, but if not, let's get the ball to our playmakers' hands. And I thought we ran it well last year against them, but it wasn't like this crazy 300-yard run or pass game. It was just kind of a good balanced attack that we're going to have to utilize going forward, and especially against this team because they're playing some really good football right now.
A new leadership group this season. A little turbulence right now, a couple losses in a row. What's the message you're making sure that the guys understand inside?
Yeah, just staying together, and I think we have enough guys from this team that were here last year, knowing where we were last year, right, 5-5, and had to win so many games to get into the playoffs. And there's a good perspective, right? Joe talked about, we could have been 0-2 and gotten a 3-game win streak, and now we're feeling on top of the world. But because we started 3-0 and we've lost the last 2 against 2 good teams, you can find yourself questioning things. But we're just sticking together, sticking to the game plan, and again, just trusting the process.
Josh, you guys are going up against a team that just fired its head coach, especially considering the slow starts for your team the last couple of weeks. What are the conversations this week with you guys about sort of matching that sense of urgency that they're going to have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough situation to be in, right? When a team fires their coach, because you're not sure how they're going to react to that. My sense is they're going to be prepared to go Monday night. So we're going to have to handle every shot that they throw at us and keep getting back up and moving forward. So, have to have a great sense of urgency, get off to a hot start, and find ways, like I said, to stay on the field on 3rd down and score touchdowns when we're down in the red zone.
When the game's in when the game's like hanging in the balance, late game situations, you've been with Sean for so long, put a lot of his last game on himself for that last sequence. How much trust do you have?
I got supreme trust, and that says a lot of how much trust he has in me down there in that situation, and I got to find a way to convert.
What changes for you? Last one against a new head coach. I mean, obviously there's things they do well. They'll probably continue to do that, but it might change some things up. How do you guys prepare differently, if at all?
We have a good week of practice. We game plan well. I don't expect them to change everything about them, but just sticking to our base rules and trusting the eyes and trusting what Joe's calling and going out there and executing. Thank you guys.